entire system also. Then there are two steps for taking after the backup is being taken. It is restore and recovery. What do you mean by restore and recovery? Restore means the backup. What do you mean by backup? It is taken a copy. We take a copy of a data into another system or into another drive. Okay, so whenever I want to restore it back, or whenever I want to take that data back, there are two steps, which is restore and recovery. So restore means I'm taking the entire data into the original place, and then when I say it is completely recovered means I'm checking whether each and every file which was being backup is being copied into the original place with its original size. So that is what is we restore and recover. Okay. Then we had seen what do you mean by archiving. Now it is archiving. It is moving a data which is not going to be used for a longer period of time, or we are not going to perform any kind of changes into that particular data. We call it as an archive. Okay. So we are storing that data for a long term, and we are not going to change that data for a long term. Okay, again, if it is archiving, we can take an archive of any data, any file, any folder which is there inside the system. Then we had also seen what is the difference between backup and archiving. We had seen that one is used for short-term retention, the other one is used for long-term retention. One uses hot backup, hot cloud, the other uses cold cloud. Then we had also seen that backup means we continuously update, but we continuously keep on updating, and we also see to it that exact copy of every data which is updated, that is also being made. Whereas in archive, we are not going to perform any updation. So once we take a backup, we can always keep it safely at the at some another place for the longer term of use. Then we had seen what are the different archive storage options. We can store that archive data onto any of the tape. We can also store it on the disk, and we can also store it on the cloud. So generally we prefer using cloud because it can be accessed from anywhere, wherever you are. If it is tape and disk, and if it is not with you, along with you, so it becomes little difficult. So we preferably use cloud for storing, whether it is backup or whether it is archive data. Then we had seen what are the qualities of good backup. We should have a storage space. We should see to it that the storage space is always scalable. That means it can be increased as and when required. The data should be highly available. That is, whenever we want that data, we should see to it that the data is available to the user at that time. Then disaster recoveries, we should make multiple copies of the data. So even if one is lost, we have second. Even if second is lost, we have third. Then is the backup security. Whatever data we have stored, we should not only protect the original data, but we should also see to it that the data which is backup is also being secured. Then we should frequently keep on taking the backup, that is schedule the backup, either it is monthly or it is daily or it is weekly or it is yearly. Then we have volume, that is we can have any kind of any volume of our data can be backup. Coverage is nothing but the types of backup, that is either I can take full backup or incremental or differential backup. What does all this three means that we are going to see today. Then separation and testing. So these are nothing but the qualities which should be assured when we take a backup of the data. Then we had seen that there are different steps for performing the backup. That means there are different tools of performing the backup. So we either perform a backup automatically or we do it manually. Manually means we are copying one by one each and every file. Whereas automatic means we are making use of certain tools or certain commands to take that backup. So Unix and Linux both allow us to perform a backup and to recover or restore from that backup by using different commands, out of which we had seen first one, which was the tar command. We'll be seeing dump, dd, cpio and other commands in the today's session. Okay. Then we had seen how do we take a backup using a cp command. We just have to write cp backup, the file name, that is the original file which I want to take a backup, and the destination where I want to store that backup. So what will this command do? It will cp backup file2.txt. So it will take a backup of file2.txt and it will be storing it at a location home/ssit/downloads. Okay. So we had seen this command. Where does it take the backup? Then if I make use of cp-p, what does this do is it preserves all the properties and the attributes of the file. So if I want that my attributes of my backup file should be similar to that of the original file, I can use this command called as cp-p. So what it will do, it will preserve the properties which are same to as that of the backup file. That means whatever properties your original file had, all those properties will be now there into your backup file also. So when I use cp-p file2.txt usr / which means what, the file2.txt will be backed up. All the properties of file2 will be as it is, as I have mentioned -p, and it will be stored inside usr directory. Then we had seen what is star command. What does the star stands for? It stands for tape archive. Okay, so what is this command going to do? It will be creating the archive files and it will allow us to extract that archive file. Okay, so we had seen how we are supposed to do that. So what was the syntax of it? Tar option archive file or directory to be archived. Now what is this options we have? We can use these many options along with the tar command. So the first option was -c. What is it going to do? It will create the archive. So when I use this star with -c, what it will do is it will create a it will create an archive of whatever file I specify over here. Okay. When I use it with -x, what it will do? It will extract the archive which is created by using this -c. Then if I want to give a file name, what am I supposed to do is I have to use this star command with -f. When I do not use it, what is it going to do is system will give the file name on its own. But if I want to keep a file name which I want, I have to use this -f. Then what if I make a use of -t, what it will do is it will list all the files which are archived inside your system. If I use -u, what it is going to do, it archives and adds to an existing archive file. That means if I have archived something and if I want to add some more data to that archive file, I will be making use of -u. Then if I make use of -v, what it is going to do is it will display the verbose information. We had already seen that what was this verbose information. As soon as I type this command tar cvf, what it is going to do, since I have a v, it will show me in the next command that it is creating the verbose of which particular, it is creating the archive of which particular file. But if I do not use this v, it is not going to show me that file name. It will directly show me that the archive file is being created. Then if I make use of -A, what it is going to do is it will concat the two archive files. So if I want to concat, or if I want to join the two archive files, what I have to make use of? I have to make use of -A. Then we had seen this -z. It is used to compress a tar file using gzip. So if I want to compress any particular file, I can use two options in Linux. First is gzip and second is bzip2. So we had already seen how to compress the files using gzip. We had an extension filename.tar.gz. So that gz is nothing but the extension of your gzip file. That means the file is compressed and it is being given with an extension .tar.gz. Now, if I want to compress a file by not using this gzip, I can also compress it by using bzip2. So to zip, I make use of gzip and bzip2. So we will be seeing bzip2 today. The next is, so -j is used if I want to compress a file by using bzip. Now what is going to happen is if I directly use this bzip command, it will allow me to compress a file directly by using this bzip2 command. Or if I do not want to use this bzip, I can always use -j with this star command. Okay, so both the options are available. Either you use directly bzip2 command or you use an -j as an option with your tar command. Next is -W. What is it going to do? It will verify your archive files. And what is the function of -r? It is going to update and add the files and directly to your existing tar file. Whereas your U is doing addition of only to the existing tar file. But if I want to add a separate directory or a separate file, you are supposed to make use of -r. So we had seen this command like tar -cvf techmint.tar into /home/techmint. What is this command going to do? It will create an archive. Since I have minus hyphen C, it will show me the verbose information as I have V. And why it is going to consider this file name of tar? Because I have given F. Okay, so what is going to happen when I execute this command? It will create an archive of a original file with the name techmint 141912. The archived file name will be techmint 14912.tar, and this archived file will be stored inside the home directory inside the folder called as techmint. Okay. So let's see. Yes.
Can you show the previous slide?
Previous slide. This one.
Before that.
This one.
Yeah. What does the verification of archive file mean?
Verification of archive file means I have a original file. Say for let us consider this example. I had a original file techmint 14912. I have created a tar file of it, that is techmint 14912.tar. Now when I execute this with an -w, what is it going to do? It will check whether a tar file with original file name is created or not. That means I have a file called as syco. I have created an archive of it, which is syco.tar. So now when I execute syco.tar with that W option, it will just verify whether it has the original copy of that tar file or not. So it is just a verification of original with the tar and tar with the original. Okay. Then we had seen one example, that is tar cvf file.tar.c. What is this command going to do? It is going to archive all the C programs, and the file name of that all the archive C programs will be now file.tar. Okay. Then if I want to extract, so I have to make use of X over here. For creating, we make use of C. For extracting, we make use of an option X. So when I say tar -xvf file.tar, what it will do is it will extract this all the C files back into the original files. Okay, so I had original files as .c. I archived it and saved it as file.tar. Now when I extract that file.tar will be get converted into all the individual C program files. Okay. Then we had seen how to compress a file using gzip. So to compress a file using gzip, what do we make use of? We make a use of option called as Z. Okay. So what am I going to do through this command is I have compressed a file by using a gzip. Why by using gzip? Since I have used an option Z. So option Z will zip the file by using a gzip command, and the new name of that zip file will be file.tar.gz. So this is the file name, and what is this zip file containing? It is containing all the C programs inside it. So this is the original file. It has been zipped and now stored with a name called as file.tar.gz. And why this gz is used for? It is nothing but zipping by using a gzip command. How do you use this? By using an option Z. Okay. So we had seen that. After that, we had seen how to extract. So once I have zipped that file by using this zip command, that is creating a zip, I can extract it by using extracting with an option Z. So what will this XVZF do? It will extract the zip file. Which file is to be unzipped now? It will unzip file.tar.gz. So when I unzip, what will I get? All these individual files of C programs will be found as it is inside the system. Okay. Then we had also seen how to take a backup of an entire Linux system by using simply one simple command, that is rsync. So when I make use of a rsync command, what it is going to do is it is going to take a backup of an entire Linux system. But it also gives me a permission to exclude something if I want. So if I want to exclude some folders or some directories, I can exclude that by making use of this option called as exclude. Okay. Then we had seen 3-to-1 backup rule. What was that 3-to-1 backup rule? That we have to take 3 copies of data. We have to select 2 different mediums on which we are going to take a data. Going to take a backup, as well as we have to keep 1 copy which is offsite. 1 copy which is offsite means which can be archived or which can be never going to be lost or in a form of some safe type. Safe type means we are not going to touch that. We'll be only using it when I lose this 3 copies or when I lose this 2 copies. So that was the 3-to-1 backup rule. Now today we'll be starting with, I think this was not completed, right? We had stopped till 3-to-1 backup, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today we'll be starting choosing a backup tool. So we had seen in the previous slides that your backup is being happening in 2 ways. One is automatic and one is manually. So manual means you are copying it all the files one by one, checking the file size and then selecting the next folder to copy. But when I say backup tool means it is automatic. That means you're making use of certain commands and by those commands the backup is being taken. So we had seen one command, that is CP command. We have also seen the tar command where we can store the backup in an archive format and then compress it and uncompress it and extract it. Now we'll be seeing different other command, that is the dump command. Now what is this dump and restore command? It is generally used to perform 2 types of backup. Which backup? Full backup and incremental backup. So whenever I choose to perform a full backup of a system or an incremental backup of a system, I'll make use of this dump command. Okay. Now when I use this dump command, it has different levels. Those levels are ranging from 0 to 9. What will this levels from 0 to 9 do? It will perform only 2 types of backup, either full or incremental. Why? Because this dump command is used only to perform this 2 backup. I cannot perform differential backup with this dump command. So how is a system going to understand whether it has to perform a full backup or incremental backup by using this dump? It will understand by the level which I specify. So what are those levels? It is ranging from 0 to 9. So when I use level 0, it is going to perform a full backup, which is the backup of entire system. But when I use any level from 1 to 9, it will instruct that data or it will instruct a system to perform only an incremental backup. Now for now, time being, to understand what is full and incremental backup is, full backup means if I have only one folder inside the system, that is TYCO. And if I take a backup of that TYCO, which means what? It is full backup. Now I have taken this backup on Monday. Tomorrow, if I write anything into that TYCO file, and if I perform an incremental backup, what will that incremental backup do? It will not take the backup of entire TYCO folder, but it will take a backup of only those changes which I have made on Monday or from Sunday to Monday. Okay, that is what is incremental backup. Full backup was taken at 9 p.m. on Sunday. Incremental backup is being taken on 9 p.m. on Monday. So whatever changes I have done from 9 p.m. of Sunday to 9 p.m. of Monday will be considered as a incremental backup. So this dump command will choose level 0 for performing full backup and will choose level 1 to 9, that is 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. All these levels are used to perform those incremental backup. And what is that incremental backup? Whatever changes are done after full backup is considered to be as a incremental backup. Okay. Is this dump tool understood to you? So when I say dump TYCO, which means what? It is going to perform either full backup of TYCO or incremental backup of TYCO. But now when I mention a level, that is dump 0 TYCO or dump 2 TYCO. So 0 will identify that it has to do full backup of TYCO and 2 will specify that it has to do a incremental backup of TYCO. Okay. Next is a tar command. So we have already seen this tar command. It is nothing but tape archive. So I can take a backup by using this tar command. And it is one of the easiest way to take a backup inside the Linux. What we have to do is just mention the tar command, select one of the options that we have just seen, write the file name, that is a new file, backup file name, followed by the destination or the path where you want that file to be backed up. Okay. Next command is CPIO command. Now, what is the CPIO command? It is a flexible command, but one that is hard to use because of its unusual way in which the commands are written. Apart from this, what does it do is it takes the backup of entire file as well as the individual system. But the advantage of using this CPIO is what it allows, or it makes a multiple copies into different destination of a data, which is not supported by this dump, neither it is supported by this tar. It is supported by tar, but you have to execute that command every time into different destination. Whereas what will CPIO do? It will automatically make a backup into multiple destination. So what is the difference in this dump, tar and CPIO is, this dump will take the backup of all the files as well as individual files and folders into the system. All the 3 steps of individual files, folders and directory will be done by tar also. And all those backups of files and folders is done by CPIO also. What does dump do? Only full backup and incremental backup. Whereas tar, whatever we specify, it will take only that much as a backup. Again, CPIO, whatever we specify, only it will take that much backup. But the advantage of this CPIO over this dump and tar is that these two are making only individual copy of a data, whatever we specify in the path as, whereas the CPIO will make a copy in the location which you have specified as well as some other locations inside the system. So even if your original is lost, you have your backup with the path name that you have given. Even if that backup is lost, it has multiple copies already made inside the system automatically, and you can retrieve the data from those multiple copies also. Whereas all this is happening automatically. Multiple location में जो copies बन रहे हैं, that is happening automatically once you execute the CPIO. Whereas in dump and tar, if I have original into desktop, backup into C drive, I have to make another multiple backup into F drive by my own by executing this dump. Whereas in CPIO, you have original on desktop, you have specified the path as to take a backup in D drive. It will automatically take it into F drive also and Z drive also, which will be happening automatically. But in this too, you have to do it with the help of executing the commands again and again. Okay. Next is the DD command. What is DD command? Now this command does not or cannot be used by the normal user. This using of this command or the rights for using this command is only given to the admin or to the root user. So if you are a root of the system, you can execute this command. But if you are a normal user, you cannot make use of DD command to take the backup. So these are the 4 commands which will allow you to automatically take the backup inside the system, out of which the tar is the simplest one to use. DD cannot be used by the normal user. CPIO has many benefits like multiple copies into multiple destination, but the using of commands is little difficult. And the dump will take you or will allow you to perform full as well as incremental backup. Okay. Now we'll be seeing what are the different types of backup. So we have full backup, incremental backup, differential backup, network backup, and a mirror backup. Okay. Now what is this full backup? A full backup is a starting point for all other backups, and it contains all the data inside the files and folders that are selected to be backup. Now, if my system has 500 GB of data, that means everything, if I select all the files and all the folders, the total storage space taken by those files and folders inside my system is 500 GB. Now, when I perform full backup, what will that system do? Or what will that backup do? It will take a backup of entire 500 GB of data into whichever location you specify. Okay, that is what it is considered to be as a starting point, and it is containing all the files and the folders which are there inside the system. Okay, or suppose if from that 500 GB, if you think that only 300 GB of data is useful, remaining 200 GB is useless, even if that data is not taken in the backup, you can skip that. But whatever 300 GB you have selected, each and every file belonging to that 300 GB will be taken as a backup. Therefore, we consider as full backup. Full means first it will take entire system, but if you want, you can remove some files and folders. If you remove those files and folders, it will not take the backup, but whatever is remaining, each and every single file, let it be a system file, configuration file, you as a user created file, admin created files, everything will be backed up. Therefore it is called as full backup. So either the backup of ones which you have selected or the backup of entire system. Now, the process of restoring the lost data from the backup is much faster. So what will happen is, even if your data is lost and if you want to recover, that process will be very faster. Why? Because agar system pura gaya hai, so you have everything with you. You just have to start the recovery process. But why? Because everything is lost and everything will be recovered back in just a single click. So what are the advantages? Restoring is faster. Why is that restoring faster? Because you do not have to select anything. Aapka system full, your system is completely gone because everything is lost and you want everything back. So what you will do is, you have taken that everything inside your hard disk. You just have to connect your hard disk to the system and start copying of the data. You do not have to select that, yes, I want TYCO, I do not want FYCO, I do not want SYCO, or I do not want enrollment number file, or I do not want course file. Why? Because you do not have to select this, because जो डेटा था वो सब चला गया है and you want everything back. Therefore restoring becomes faster. When there is no selection of a data, in that case restoring becomes faster. What is the disadvantage? Your backing up is little slow. Why is the backup procedure slow? Because the volume of a data which is getting backup is little large as compared to the other types of backup. Therefore it takes more time to take a backup. If you remember, whenever we format our system, what do? Is we copy all the original files of all the drives into hard disk. Then we clear all those drives, we format the system, and then we try to copy all the data from the hard disk again back into the system. So whenever that copying is happening from your system to your hard disk and from your hard disk to your system, that is little time taken is little more. Why? Because each and every files are getting backed up. Therefore the procedure of full backup is little time consuming, or it is little slow. Why? Because each and every file is getting copied, and second, the volume of the data is also very large. Okay, what is the disadvantage? Another disadvantage, the storage space requirement is highest. Storage space requirement means, since the data is, as I said, 300 GB or 500 GB, that is little, the volume of the data is more, so you have to have that storage space also that much more to make a copy of a data. Suppose if I have a 500 GB of a data, and if my hard disk on which I'm going to take a backup is not of that much volume, will it allow me to take a complete backup? No. So we have to see that on whatever storage medium I am copying or I'm taking a backup, that medium should be of large storage space, so that it can accommodate all or entire amount of the data inside that device. Okay. The next is incremental backup. Now, what is incremental backup? It means backing up everything that has changed since the last full backup. Now, I have taken a backup of 1 week. Okay, that is from Monday to Sunday. I have taken a backup. On Sunday, I have performed a backup of the entire week. Now, what will happen if it is incremental backup? As I said, on Sunday 9 p.m. I have completed taking the backup of the entire week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 9 baje tak, whatever changes I have made to that particular file, everything I have backed up inside a hard disk on Sunday at 9 p.m. Now at 10 o'clock, I again start making the changes to the original file. I keep on making the changes till Monday 10 o'clock. So in that full backup, what will I have? Only the changes that is made to the original file from Monday till Sunday up till 10 p.m. Whatever changes I have made after 10 p.m. till Monday are not being backed up. So what will I do? If I again take a full backup, first of all, it will be time consuming. Why? Because I am making a duplicate copy. मैंने Monday to Sunday already ले लिया है, so I will not take it again. What I will do is I will take an incremental backup. What is that incremental backup doing? It will not take a backup of Monday to Sunday, but it will start taking a backup everything that has been changed after Sunday. Okay, that is what is considered to be as incremental backup, and it is written everything that has been changed since the last full backup. So my last full backup was done on Sunday at 9 p.m. I have changed from Sunday till Monday, and whatever changes are done from Sunday to Monday are considered to be inside your incremental backup. So that is a difference in your full backup and incremental backup. So with incremental backup, only initial backup is full one. Initial backup is full one means the one which is there from Monday to Sunday. Whatever new changes are there is there inside your incremental backup. Subsequent backup only store the changes that were made since your previous backup was taken. So my previous backup was taken on Sunday. Whatever changes or whatever lines I have added from Sunday to Monday will now be stored inside incremental backup and not inside the full backup. Okay. What are the advantage? The backing up is faster. If you see in full backup, our backup was little slow. Why here the backup is faster? Because I am going to make a changes of only those files which are changed after my full backup was being taken. So that backup will be faster as compared to the full backup. Why? Because the size will be little, or the changes made will be less, or the file size or number of the files which I'm going to take a backup will be little less. Again, the storage space required will be low. Why? Because it will be only few files which I have changed. It will not be all the files as it was there in the full backup. But what are the disadvantage? Restoring will be slow. Why restoring will be slow? Because those files will be linked to some of the files of the full backup. So until and unless I do not take the recovery of full backup, my recovery of incremental backup is of no use. Why it is of no use? Because all those files are somewhere linked to the full backup or the files which are there inside the full backup. So the restoring procedure will be slow as compared to the restoring procedure in the full backup. Is this two backups understood to you up till now? Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So is full backup and incremental backup clear to you? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let us start with the next, that is differential backup. Now what is differential backup? Differential seems to be another name of an incremental backup. Differential backup offers a middle ground by backing up all those files that have changed since the last full backup. Now, on Sunday, I have taken full backup. I have changed the data on Monday. I have changed the data on Tuesday also. So when I take incremental backup, what was incremental backup doing? When I take an incremental backup on Monday, changes made from Sunday to Monday are there in incremental. When I take incremental on Tuesday, listen carefully. When I take incremental on Tuesday, whatever is changed from Monday to Tuesday will be there in incremental. I repeat again. On Sunday, I have taken a full backup. I have changed the files from Sunday. On Monday, I perform incremental. So in that incremental, what I will have all the changes made after Sunday and on Monday, correct? Now again on Tuesday, when I take an incremental backup, what will I have? All the changes made from Monday after the first incremental backup until Tuesday. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so Monday के incremental backup में I have everything of Sunday and Monday. Tuesday के incremental में I have everything after Monday and Tuesday. Okay. Now, what is this function of differential backup? It is similar to incremental, but when I take a differential backup on Tuesday, what will that differential backup do? It will take a backup of everything after Monday up till Tuesday. Okay, so what does this line mean? Differential backup offers a middle ground by taking a backup of every file that has changed since the last full backup. So when did I take a last backup? I took a last backup on Sunday. उसके बाद increment, I have two incremental of one of Monday, one of Tuesday. But if I perform a differential on Tuesday, what it is going to do, it will keep all those files that are changed from Sunday afternoon till Tuesday. Is this clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a difference in incremental and differential. इंक्रीमेंट क्या कर रहा है, एवरी डे का बैकअप आफ्टर एवरी फुल बैकअप, बट उसके बीच में इफ आई टेक डिफरेंशियल, so what is differential doing? It is not taking day by day. Whatever has happened after full backup, it is going to completely store into some location. Okay, so what is the advantage of your incremental backup? Restoring is faster as compared to restoring of incremental. Restoring incremental के restoring में क्या हो रहा था, I have to wait for full backup का files, whereas in differential do I have to wait a full back file of full backups? No. Why? Because they are already been restored. एक बार copy हो चुका है into some different folder, and when I restore it, everything will be restored. जितना backup लिया है उतना वापस restore हो जाएगा. Differential में how will be the restoring faster as compared to restoring of your incremental? In incremental, I have to wait for all the files of Sunday. I have to wait for all the files of increment which are happening on Monday. Whereas in differential, I have taken it on Tuesday. So once Sunday ka data is loaded, I do not have to wait for Monday's data or Tuesday's data. I can directly start restoring. Why? Because I just have to check from where that last backup is being taken. Last backup was taken on Sunday. So Sunday ka data restore ho gaya, so I can start restoring all the data which was taken after differential backup. Okay, backing up is faster than full backup. Why it is faster than full? Because only the changes I have to store which are happened after Sunday, on Monday and on Tuesday. The storage space is also less as compared to full. Why it is less? Because I just have to see कि Sunday के बाद Monday और Tuesday को कितना files का size है. Depending on those file का size, I have to see that how much is the size of my storage medium on which I am going to take a backup. Okay, so your backing will be faster, your storage space requirement is less, and your restoring is also happening faster. But what are the disadvantages? Your restoring will be slow as compared to restoring of full backup. Why this? When will this case occur? If at all your full backup is not restored completely. Why? Because I have to wait till the restore of full backup is not being taken. तो अगर full backup का restoring completely हो गया है, then it is not going to take time. But if at all any of the files are not restored properly, in that case it was going to affect my restoring of the differential backup. Backup is slow than incremental backup. Why it is slow? Because in incremental backup what I am doing, जितना दिन भर दिन change हुआ है उतना I am taking. Whereas in differential I have to see the backup of Sunday, backup of Monday, and backup of Tuesday. Whereas first incremental is on Monday, I just have to change from Sunday to Monday. Second incremental is on Tuesday, only backup from Monday to Tuesday. So backup of differential is slow as backup of incremental. The storage space requirements are higher of differential as compared to incremental. Why? Again, because incremental I am taking on Monday also, I am taking on Tuesday also. So Monday I might change only 2 files, which will not be more than even 1 GB. So space requirement will be less for incremental, but it will be little more for differential. Why more for differential? Because I am taking differential directly after Sunday on Tuesday. I am not taking differential on Monday. I am directly taking it on Tuesday. So my size of the files may be little more than 1 GB, just for example, because I am considering all the files after Sunday, all the files of Monday, as well as all the files of Tuesday. Okay, is differential clear to you?
Yes.
Okay, so the next type of backup is network backup. Now, what is network backup? Whenever I say network, there are two systems which are automatically going to be used. Which are those two systems? One will be client and one will be server. Okay, so a network backup usually means backing up a client to a backup server. This means client sends the files to the server and the server writes them to the backup media. Why is this happening? Because if suppose I am a client, I do not have enough space into my system, or I do not have any hard disk or something like that to store the data. Where will I store? I have told you few options. You can store it in the tape, you can store it in the disk, you can store it in the cloud. We had seen those storage options. So what is this cloud? That cloud is nothing but the server. which means if I do not have a space being a client at my end, I will send all the files on the server, which is the cloud server or your Google Drive, and then you're storing a backup into the Google Drive. So your Google Drive is nothing but the cloud storage, which is nothing but a server backup medium. Okay, so that is what we call it as a network backup. So whenever I want to extract or whenever I want those files from that server into my machine, what should I have? I should have a network connectivity. Once that network connectivity is done, I can simply take the files from that cloud server. Multiple computers can act as a client and back up data to one of the centralized servers or multiple servers. That means it is not only one client can store the data on server. Multiple clients can store the data on multiple server or one centralized server. Okay. Now, if it is in case of our college, we have one centralized server, which is the exam section. So whatever exam record are there of computer, civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics, everything is there on that centralized server. Whereas I might have individual department data also stored on some cloud server also, which is there inside the management, that is a data center in the management building. Okay, so centralized we have it in the management, or maybe multiple servers on the management side, and centralized server which is there inside our college at the exam section. Okay, so multiple clients, multiple server, multiple client, centralized server, both is allowed if it is a network backup. Okay. Then next, what are the advantages? It can be deployed for on-site backup. It can be deployed for on-site backup means what? A user or a client has an advantage to access the data directly by just having a network connectivity, that is on-site connectivity. And once that connectivity is done, user can extract or take a data from anywhere on the system. Compatibility with full incremental and differential technologies. Compatible with full incremental and differential means if it is a network backup, I can perform full backup also, incremental backup also, and differential backup also. It is compatible with all the three. अगर ऐसा नहीं है कि network backup use किया तो I can perform only incremental or I can perform only differential. I can perform all the three or any three, whichever I want, depending upon the volume of the data. It supports wide variety of storage mediums. Wide variety of storage mediums means that is multiple server, as it is written over here, or one centralized server, like we call it as cloud. Then what are the disadvantages? It presents additional network related management challenges. What is additional network related management challenges? That means the internet connectivity issues. अगर आज मेरा internet नहीं है, my Wi-Fi is down, and if I am operating on 2G, will it allow me to take is it possible to restore that data at a higher speed? No. Why? Because I do not have Wi-Fi and I am on 2G. So these are the network related problems. So if you have a poor network connectivity, you will always face those network related challenges. But if your connectivity is good, and if your speed is also good, you will be able to extract and take the backup of a data in a much better way as compared to other three backup. It can be a costly operation when backup of large setup of data is there. Now, why it is costly? For us, the cloud storage is free. For us means for Somaya users. If you have that somaya.edu account, you get a drive size which is free. But if you see your personal account and if you try to use your drive, it is only up to 15 GB. If you want to increase that size, you have to pay monthly some 3,000 or 4,000 rupees, and you have to purchase that space. So if it is not some educational ID, and if it is some personal ID, and if you're trying to take a backup on those personal IDs, it will be a little costly operation. Okay. Reliability may be dependent on the internet connection and the third party infrastructure. What is that reliability? Reliability is how faster the data is retrieved to the user. So since I am a user, I have stored everything on the cloud. How will I check a reliability? How faster I am getting it when I have asked for, or when I have required, when I want, or when is my requirement. अगर मैंने आज पूछा है, and if the data is available to me tomorrow, I'll say that reliability is very poor. So that reliability depends on the internet connection. So if at my end internet is good, But if there is some internet connectivity issues at the server end, again the reliability will be less. If the internet connection at the server end is good, but if at my end it is less, again there is a reliability issue. So how do you judge this reliability? Depending upon how good the internet connection is at both the ends, not only client or server, but how good it is at both the ends. Definitely it is going to be good at the server end, but we cannot say on the client side. Okay, then next is, how do we create a Linux backup plan? Now, how is this backup plan to be created? Now, whenever we take a backup, we have to always make a plan or prepare a plan before we start taking the backup. So how do we do that? First is review the prerequisite and consideration. What is prerequisite? That whether I want to take only a single backup or I want to take a multiple backup at multiple location. That is what is prerequisite. Then am I going to do a backup automatically or manually? That also I have to decide, which is considered to be as prerequisite. Suppose if I choose to do it automatically, which tools I am going to use? That is also a prerequisite. Then on which mediums do I'm going to take a storage? That is nothing but either am I going to take it on a CD? Will I be taking it on cloud? Will I be taking it on hard disk? All these are considered to be prerequisite. That means backup करने के लिए मुझे क्या-क्या चाहिए? If I note those things down, it is considered to be as prerequisite and consideration. And I also have to decide that what type of backup I'm going to take. If it is full backup, my storage mediums might get changed. If it is network backup, I will have to see my internet connectivity also. If it is incremental or differential backup, again my requirements will keep on changing. So all these have to be considered before you start taking the backup. Create a backup plan. So based on what type of backup you have decided, you have also noted down that I will be requiring hard disk, I will require cloud connection, I will require internet connectivity, I'm going to take it on the multiple drives and all. I have to select a plan. What is that plan? Whether I'm going to do this backup on yearly basis, or I will be doing it on monthly basis, or I'm going to do it daily, or I'm going to do it hourly. That is nothing but I have to make a plan considering these factors also. Once I have selected this, perform a manual backup. Perform a manual backup means this is just an optional if you see. Why it is being told to consider, or to why it is being told to make a manual backup is, sometimes if my automatic backup creates a problem, or if it is not making a backup efficiently, or it is not making a backup properly, what we do is in manual backup what do we do is we open one folder, we select the files, we copy inside the hard disk. That folder is completed, we go to the next folder. That means it is happening everything in front of our eyes. I know that एक folder के अंदर 5 फाइल है तो 5 फाइल हो गई है. Then only I'm supposed to select the next folder. But when I'm doing it automatically, I do not know whether individual files, I do not know, or I cannot see anything. Why? Because everything is getting automated. So why this is called as optional? If you consider, or if you take this manual backup, even if anything goes wrong with the automatic backup or with the multiple copies of those automatic backup, you have one manual copy of a backup made by yourself stored. So even if anything wrong happens with the automatic thing, you have everything in the manual and you can store everything from the manual also. So this generally is not being preferred, because why it is not being preferred? Already it is going to take time to take your automatic backup. Again, nobody will wish to waste that much amount of time by taking the manual backup also. This could be preferable if your data is very small, but if it is a huge data like the data on the servers, I will never prefer this option into my plan. I will have to be dependent, or I have to trust the automatic backup. After all the backup has been taken, what I have to do is I have to verify. How will I verify this? I have to check manually. That means original में ABC है तो backup में ABC file है क्या? Original में I have XYZ, backup में XYZ है क्या? So this I have to do it manually. So once that verification is done, I have to keep on troubleshooting. Troubleshooting means I have to see that if at all there is problem in the original, it might be there a problem in the backup also. So अगर original में वो problem fix किया है, so I have to see to it that I go back to my backup file also and fix that problem also. So if you're troubleshooting and if you're securing the original backup, you also have to troubleshoot and secure your backup also. So this is the plan. You identify the prerequisite, you decide what type of backup is there, you decide what kind of mediums you're going to use, you create a plan out of it, whether you will be doing it monthly, yearly, quarterly, however you want. Keep manual backup optional if it is a small amount of data, but if it is large, you have to be reliable, or you have to be trusted on the automatic data. After everything is done, verify one by one manually, and then go on troubleshooting if there is any problem in the original data. So if there is no problem, there is no need of this troubleshooting step. Okay, so this is how we have to make a plan before we start taking the backup. Then what are the different medias on which we can take a backup? We can take the backup on the hard disk. So hard disk is the medium on which we can take a backup. What is the capacity? It is from GB to TB. Then floppy disk, nowadays it is not being used, so we generally do not prefer. But when these CDs and hard disk were not there, floppy disk and punch cards were only the options where the backup was being taken. So the size of this floppy disk is only into KBs or MBs. So we don't use this option these days. Next, we can take a backup into the medium like CD or CD-ROM. ROM means read-only memory. So if I want my archive, I can store this archive into read-only memory form. Why? Because I'm not going to change. So I will keep it only as read purpose. Okay. Then I can also store it in the mini disk, which is called as MD. What is the size of it? Only 340 MB. If it is CD-ROM, the size is 700 MB. I can also store it in DVDs, which will give me little more size as compared to these CDs. Okay, 4.7 GB. I can also store it in the SD card. Okay, which will be few MB to tens of GB. You can also store it in the USB flash drives. What are your USB flash drives? It is nothing but your pen drives. Okay, and you can also store it inside your SDD. So your SDD and HDD are one and the same. Okay. Nowadays, your hard disk drives, sometimes you may get your SDD if your computers or your laptops are of advanced configuration. You get SDD inside the system. Okay. So size of both of them are same. So these are the different medias or the medium on which you can take your backup or you can take your archive data. Okay. So we had seen these examples of TAR. Now next, if you remember, we had done gzip. What was that gzip? Compressing and decompressing of the TAR file or the archive file. The second option is bzip. So if you do not want to use gzip, you can use bzip commands. If you remember, I just told you that bzip can be used with an -j option, or if you do not want to use that -j option, you can use only gzip option. Okay, or you can use only gzip command. What is that bzip command? A file compression that is carried out according to a specific algorithm. There are many compression techniques, like we had seen the gzip compression technique. Along with that, you have another compression technique, which is bzip2. So how do we compress a file using bzip2? Just a minute. I'll show you with that Ubuntu interface on terminal. So how we are compressing the files using gzip? We can also compress the files by using bzip2. Okay. So can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how are you supposed to use this command? What is this bzip going to do? It will be zipping the file, or it is going to compress the file, whatever I type over here. So when I have a command bzip to list.txt, what is it going to do? It will be converting your this text file, or it will be compressing your text file by using a format of bzip. So when I see the output, what do I get is list.text.bz2. What is that bz2? It has compressed your file into a bzip format. Which file it has compressed? The file which you have given in the command. Okay. So now when I give the command, let us first create a file. So if you create a file using a command touch kjsp, if I see ls-l, I get to see can you see this KJSP created? Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have created a file called as KJSP. I have seen that the file is created. Now I will be zipping this file, or I'll be compressing this file by using a bzip2 command. Okay. So how are we supposed to use this command? I have created which file? KJSP. So I'll just replace bzip2 with KJSP. So bzip2. So I have zipped this file, or I have compressed this file. Now when I want to check, what will I do? ls-l. Can you see kjsp.bz2? So what does this mean? It has zipped your original file kjsp by using kjsp.bz2 option. So I have zipped my kjsp file by using a bzip2 command. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, now if I want to compress multiple files, that means it is not necessary that I can compress only one file. If I want to compress multiple files together, I can use this bzip2 command to compress multiple files. What I've done, bzip2 list.txt, list1.txt, list2.txt. So I have compressed 3 files with the name list, list1, list2, all the 3 by using bzip2 command. So when I list them, what do I get to see? I get to see all the 3 zipped files. So let us try to do the same thing. I'll create one more file. tyco and forms. Okay. So I have created 2 files. Sorry, touch. I've created 2 files. One is comms and one is touch. Okay. Now we'll be compressing these 2 files together by using bzip2 command. So my first file is tyco and second file is comms. Now when I say ls-l, it will show me comms, which is zipped by using bz2, and tyco, which is zipped using bz2. Okay, is this understood? So we can zip 2 files as well as we can zip. That means we can zip multiple files as well as we can zip single files by using bzip2 command. Okay. Next is, how do we decompress? That means once it is compressed, how do we decompress it? By using bunzip. Okay. So bzip is used to compress, but bunzip is used to decompress. Okay. So how do I write? Bunzip2 followed by the zipped file name. So bunzip2. I have 3 files which I have zipped: kjsp, comms, and tyco. So now if I want to decompress KJSP, what will I write? KJSP dot BZ2. Why BZ2? Because I am trying to decompress the one which is compressed. So what is the name of my compressed files? If you see here, the name of my compressed file is KJSP.bz2. So if I want to decompress this, I have to write the same name, but by using bunzip and not by using bz command. Okay. So when I do enter now, and when I try to list it, you will not see KJSP.bz2. Can you see? KJSP.bz2 is not available. Only the original file KJSP is available. Why? Because I compressed it and then I have decompressed. So once if I decompress, I cannot see the compressed file. Are you understanding this?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So your bzip command, bzip2 command is used to compress and bunzip2 command is used to decompress. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. So with this, we have completed our fourth lesson. You have to remember these commands because it might be asked in your exam that compress a file called as tyco using bzip2 and decompress a file tyco by using bunzip2. So you have to remember these commands. It can be asked for 3 marks in your exam. Okay. Is this understood, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Does incremental backup replace the old version of files in full backup? No, it will not replace. Full backup will be intact as it is, and your incremental will be a new backup created, which will not have anything of full backup. It will have only those things which are changed. Okay, Yash? Yash, is it clear? Give me your attendance. Acha, tomorrow we have 2 lectures. Can you tell me the timing? I don't have timetable with me right now. Anyone who has new timetable? Is new timetable given to you?
No.
Yeah. No? Yes or no, sons?
No, ma'am.
नहीं मिला है new timetable?
नहीं, ma'am.
अच्छा ठीक है, I will put it on the classroom so that you can see. Just a minute. Siddesh, will differential backup create redundant data of incremental backup? Yes. Differential backup creates a same copy of a data which is there in incremental backup. Therefore, either you do incremental or you do differential. Depends on how much is your data and what type of backup you want. If you do differential, it will automatically have incremental, but it will be taking more time as compared to incremental. So it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Bunzip is a command or a tool. It is a tool. Actually, it is a command, but we can also call it as a tool because we are using that command. So commands in Linux are considered to be as a tool because we are not doing it manually. We are doing it by using those commands. So we consider it as automatic tools, which allow you to take a backup automatically. So bunzip, gzip, then bz, bzip2, these all are nothing but tools as well as they are commands which are written into the Linux terminal to make your backup procedure automatic. Just a minute, I will take up attendance and I will also check the timetable. वर्षा मैडम का मेल किसको भी नहीं आया है टाइम टेबल का? ओके नहीं मैम, ठीक है. Tomorrow Tuesday you have lecture from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 and just a minute, I also have to check third year. Tomorrow, is it possible for you all to again come for a lecture from 9 to 10? Why I am telling this is because your final year's exams have started from today and the timings for your final exams are, just a minute, stop the recording.